Good morning, bienvenida, welcome. So happy to have you in my new space. I just moved into a beautiful new space in Costa Rica, and it is such a beautiful place to be practicing, and I couldn't help but share this with you all. I've been called to be a little bit more vocal and more outspoken with what's important to me in my lifestyle, and so I want to share that with you guys. And I want to start with this morning video. This is meant to be a morning flow. It's meant to move our bodies mindfully, opening up through the shoulders, leading with our chest, our heart center. We're also focusing on grounding here. So when we feel unsteady, a little shaky, basically just unsure of what's to come and what's going on within us perhaps, this is meant to root us to what we know, root us to the connection to self. I recommend doing this in the morning, right when you get up. So grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your water, and then come to the mat. And there's no props involved unless you require blocks for your practice, or you need an extra cushion for our short sit before we start to move, then you can grab those. But this is meant to be a practice that you can do anywhere. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really happy to share this practice with you guys and to share this digital space and connection with you. So we'll get started. And for the beginning of class, we'll get into a comfortable seated position. Oftentimes I'll use a blanket or a block beneath me, so my hips are a little higher than my knees. Today I don't have that, so I'm just going to come into a cross-legged position. But not just any cross-legged position. This is a yoga cross-legged posture. So we really want to focus on our sit bones grounding into the mat beneath us. We want to draw our navel in without overemphasizing it. Drawing it in and up, bringing our shoulders back and down, staying long through the spine. Perhaps our hands come to our knees with our palms facing open. Perhaps there's a mudra that calls to you to help you stay centered and focused before we begin moving. Before any yoga class, I find it essential to recognize our connection to breath. So this morning, I'll invite you to practice Ujjayi breath with me. It's a pranayamic breathing exercise that allows you to connect to the sound of the breath as a focal point. So take a few regular breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Then we can practice this breath by imagining our breath fogging up a mirror in front of us. Listening to what that sounds like. And then we'll close our mouth around that sound, feeling the slight constriction in the back of the throat. Taking an inhale through the nose. Feeling that rush of air kind of on the back of the throat. Allowing yourself to bring some noise into the breath. So you don't have to be quiet here. You can bring awareness to all the sensations that arise on that exhale, on that deep exhale. Seeing if you can elongate that breath with each exhale. Trying to see if you can pick up the sensations that oftentimes sound like an ocean wave in between the ears. I remember being a little kid and picking up a big conch seashell and listening to that up to my ear. And the first time I practiced this breath, I thought, wow, this sounds just like that infinite ocean sound that exists within a seashell. So that's something that's a tool, a reference point that I use that allows me to imagine the breath as infinite and oh so spacious. The Ujjayi breath can be used throughout your entire practice. It's a rejuvenating breath. It's a very grounding breath that allows us to come back to the present moment, giving us a tool to focus our practice on. I believe that there is no successful asana practice without a deeply engaged breathwork practice. So if you're new to yoga or you're very familiar with the practice, please use this class as a reminder to lead with the breath. The body follows the breath. As we take a few minutes to sit still this morning, I want to ask you to start to bring a very clear awareness to the space that you find yourself in this morning. What are the sounds that arise around you? Can you pick up on the subtlety of the noises near and far? Can you observe the temperature of the air on your skin? Recognizing the points of contact that your body has with the mat, the ground. The sensation of your hands resting on your knees or in your lap. Now recognizing the rise and fall of the belly and the chest on each inhale and every exhale. Wherever you find yourself on this beautiful morning, allow it to be a little mini retreat away from the intensity of the state of the world as we know it right now. Recognizing that there are monumental changes happening in the outer world. Those changes directly affect our inner world. And one of the best things we can do is come to a place of awareness, of knowing and seeing the changes around us. Trying to find a productive place for us to be in this experience. A place that we can operate creatively and positively from. A place that allows us to be grounded so that we can show up for others in this time where people are needing. People are dependent. People are asking for help. Allow yourself to be grounded in order to show up. Sometimes this retreated space of stillness and meditation is the most productive thing we can do for ourselves and ultimately for those around us, so that when the time to act is invited, we are able to do so skillfully and with the best intentions. Drawing a long inhale through the belly together, we're going to bring our hands down to our sides, keeping our eyes closed if we can. Inhale, sweeping our arms high above us, gathering the space around us. Exhale, hands float down, extending through the fingers. Hands connect next to us. We'll do that 2 more times. On an inhale, arms rise. Exhale, lowering the hands, extending through the arms. This time, allow an intention to arise for the class as you sweep the arms high above. What is your focus? What calls to you this morning? Palms connect at the top. Exhale, hands to heart center in the middle of the chest. Sealing our intention. Allowing that intention to join us for the practice. Breathing through this focus. Perhaps it's an individual you have in mind. Perhaps it's something that you've been reaching for a while. Or perhaps it's something new that just naturally arose in this moment. To seal our intentions and to recognize the beginning of class, we will do an Om together, if that calls to you. So we'll do the Om on an exhale, and we'll take a big inhale together, in through the nose. Lowering our hands to our knees. Bowing the head forward. And then flickering the eyes open. Gently bringing back into our practice the visuals around us. As we get really internal in that mini meditation to begin class, I want you to take your time readjusting to the space around you. Maybe trying to not get too attached to what's happening in your space, whether you need to clean that thing or organize that thing, just letting the space exist as you come wholly into this moment. We'll start to move now, but if you want to switch your legs, bringing the front foot close into the body, and that opposite foot forward, just to keep balance. We've been sitting for a few minutes, so your body might call to make that adjustment. And then to begin, we'll start bringing our shoulders up to our ears. On an exhale, drawing our shoulder blade tips together down the back, finding expansion in the front of the body. Always following the breath. Inhale, shoulders rise. Exhale, back down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drawing the shoulder blades together. And taking one more round on your own. And then we'll bring some awareness into the neck. We'll start by dropping the neck to the right side, bringing our fingertips over to our left side of the neck and kind of drawing our fingertips down the neck onto the shoulder, allowing ourselves for a deeper stretch on this side. You don't want to feel too strained, but you want to recognize where you can breathe more space into the side of this part of the body. Drawing a long inhale through the belly, letting it wash up through you and out through the nose. Releasing the fingertips, shoulders shrug up to the ears, down the back, dropping your head softly to the left. Right fingertips come onto the neck, kind of brushing down to the shoulder. resting here, and allowing yourself to recognize where you can make more space, where you feel a little tight this morning. By glancing down or up, you'll notice the stretch changes. Just acknowledging what your body needs this morning. And release, coming back to center. Shoulders shrug up to the ears, drawing them down the back. And then we'll lift our hands high to the sky, reaching up through the fingertips, glancing up. Exhale, the right hand comes down to your right hip, bending through the elbow and reaching with the left arm. Seeing if you can ground your sit bones into the mat as you reach with the left arm. Acknowledging the stretch in the left side body. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, the left arm comes down. Slight bend in the elbow as you reach with the right. Now is a good time to acknowledge where our bodies might feel different from one side to the other. Using our breath to find those little spaces and the crevices, the nooks and crannies in the body. Bringing that breath to those specific places, allowing more space, more air to fill these areas. Inhale, back to center. Taking a little stretch here, maybe our palms flip up towards the ceiling, our head drops back, shoulders relaxed. Exhale, floating the arms down to our sides. We'll start to do a moving seated cow here. I love this posture. This is amazing if you have any time during the day and you just need to move into the body. You can do this, sitting on the bed, sitting on the floor, sitting on a cushion. So we'll take our hands to each knee. On an inhale, we're going to sweep over to the right side. Our chest leads on an inhale, coming to center, coming to the left side. On an exhale, we start to round our spine as we come to the left side, to the center, down to the right, and then back to the center of the room. On an inhale, chest leads. Seeing if you can really round through that spine, bringing the belly button towards the spine. Inhale to center, to the front of the room. Just recognizing where you can make more space in the body, in the front of the body on an inhale, on the back of the body on an exhale. And then when you're ready to switch directions, always follow the breath. Switch directions when it feels natural. Maybe your body's making noises right now. Maybe you feel it in the spine or the hips or the ankles, the shoulders. This is an engaged movement here. So allow it to be full body. And then coming back to center. Using our hands on our knees, bending our elbows, inhale, the chest comes forward, dropping the head slightly back. Exhale, dropping the head forward, rounding through the spine. Inhale, do that one more time. Contracting through the belly, rounding through the spine on an exhale. Back to center. Now we'll bring our feet together, coming into prayer feet. clasping our hands around our feet. Our knees drop towards the sides. They don't have to be on the ground. They can even be up like this if that's where your body is this morning. But the idea is to draw the knees towards the mat. We'll keep our arms straight to begin, lengthening through the spine, lifting the gaze. On an exhale, slowly bend into the elbows. Maybe the chest moves a little closer towards the feet. And then bowing the head forward, recognizing the surrender in this posture. Using your breath to expand through the back on an inhale. And on an exhale, see if you can surrender just a little deeper. On an inhale, lift the gaze, straighten the arms. Bringing your knees together, extending through the left leg. Right foot comes over to the left hip, or close to. Grounding through both sit bones, flexing through all the toes and the bottoms of the feet. Hugging the knee into the chest. On an inhale, right arm comes high. Maybe suck the belly in a little bit as you twist open on an exhale. Planting the back hand behind you, allowing yourself to grow tall through the spine. And then twisting open to the right. Maybe glancing over that back shoulder. Allowing yourself to grow taller on an inhale and twist slightly deeper on an exhale. Releasing the posture, coming back to center. To counteract this posture, I'll show you on this side. You'll stay where you are, but you'll twist open to the left side now, planting both hands next to you, lowering yourself as if you were going to do a push-up. Slowly come back to center. So bringing our left knee over to our right hip this time. Extending through the legs, grounding through the sit bones, growing tall in length, tall in height, and then hugging that knee into the chest. Lifting the left arm high, twisting open to the left side. Using that planted hand behind you to really help build length and an erect spine in this posture. Once again, using the exhale to twist slightly deeper. Maybe now's the time to remember that Ujjayi breath. Seeing if you can come back to the sound of your own breath. And then to release the posture, coming back to center, and then with your coming to the left side, you're going to set your hands next to you, coming into what would be a push-up, counteracting the pose, and then extending the feet in front of you. We're going to come into Dandasana, which is one of my favorite poses. This posture allows us to be completely engaged with excellent posture while we are sitting. So it's a supported posture, but we are still invited to engage everything from our feet all the way up through the backs of our legs, engaging the navel, engaging the core, shoulders draw back, Hands plant next to you, fingertips facing forward. Sit bones grounding into the mat, flexing the toes. Closing your eyes here for a moment, acknowledging what it feels like to have everything engaged. Imagine yourself being rooted towards the ground as you're soaring up through the crown of your head. Engaging this good posture where we have our chest forward and our shoulders back and our core is engaged. And allowing us to find stillness in this posture for a moment. Trying to bring this acute awareness of the body into every posture that we move into today. Releasing the posture without releasing that poise and strength in the body. We'll plant our hands just below our bum, fingers facing forward again. Drawing our shoulders back, strengthening through our arms. And on an inhale, we're going to press our toes forward with the idea that our toes will eventually connect to the mat beneath us. Drawing the navel in, engaging the legs. On an inhale, lift the hips. Exhale back down. Recognizing the sensations that come up oftentimes in the front of the body here, in the arms and the wrists. To counteract that pose, we'll take a seated forward fold. Inhale, arms rise, extending through the fingers, drawing the navel in and up. Exhale, reaching towards our ankles, shins, maybe our toes. Glancing up, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, glancing up, straightening the arms, finding length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, glancing up. Slowly, slowly walk ourselves back up to seated. This time we're going to cross our feet, coming onto all fours. We'll take 2 cat-cows here, making sure our hips are stacked above our knees, shoulders above wrists. And on an inhale, dip the belly, looking forward. Chest comes forward. Exhale, engage the belly, drawing the navel up and in and rounding through the spine. Inhale, dip the belly. Chest is forward and wide and open. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Following your breath here. And then coming back to neutral. We'll make our way into our first down dog of the day. But first, we will curl our toes under, then bringing our bum down to our heels, walking our hands forward, coming into kind of a supported child's pose. And then our belly connects to the very tops of our thighs. And then our chest lowers towards the ground if that feels okay for you. Maybe your forehead connects to the mat. And pausing here for a moment. Bringing back that Ujjayi breath so you can hear that ocean breath between your ears. Taking a moment here to also acknowledge our intention that we started class with. Bringing that into the breath, into the body. Allowing that focus to be with us during this practice. On an inhale, looking towards the hands, hips come high. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, curling the toes under, extending the hips high to the sky with bend in the knee to begin with, and then pedaling out the feet one after the next. If this is a very familiar posture for you, recognize how it can feel different almost every time you come into it. Especially first thing in the morning, it's not always an easy one to just pop into. Recognize where you might feel tight in the backs of the legs. And as you draw the heels towards the mat, see if you can glance up, inward towards the navel. So up towards the sky, towards the ceiling, as you paddle the legs out. Relaxing the shoulders, heels draw towards the mat, straightening both legs at the same time. Or if your practice calls for bent knee, down dog, please do that. Glancing inward towards our navel. Finding a moment of stillness here in down dog. Stepping our feet about hips distance apart, bringing our thumbs to the creases of our hips, bending into the knees, shoulders draw back off the neck, dropping the head forward. Taking a nice forward fold here, allowing your breath to come to the back of the body. On an inhale, the hands come behind you, clasping the hands together, giving that extra emphasis on opening the front of the body as you fold deeper, bringing the crown of your head closer towards the ground. Allowing yourself to surrender in this posture while fully engaging the front of the body, the legs, grounding through the feet. Recognizing this perfect duality between letting go and giving effort. Giving effort to emphasize the posture, but letting go of expectation. On an exhale, releasing the arms to the side, planting your hands beneath you, stepping back to a plank pose. We'll take 2 push-ups here, lowering on an exhale. Inhale, pushing up to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back up. Let's do one more. Exhale, push up. Hold here, hovering just a few inches above the ground. And then sweeping the chest forward, coming to the tops of the feet. Shoulders are stacked above the wrist. Chest is forward. Maybe bringing the gaze slightly up. And then exhale, curling the toes under, moving back to down dog. Flexing here through the backs of the legs for a moment. And now from this posture, we're going to take our left arm, connecting it to the outside of our right ankle, and then seeing if we can glance up through the right arm. Enjoying this nice stretch. Trying to keep our heels grounding towards the mat, keeping our hips leveled. Exhale, come back to center. Right hand comes to the outer left ankle, gazing up through the shoulder. Releasing the posture, come back to down dog. Glancing up towards our hands, hopping or stepping our feet to the front of the mat. Toes come together, bending slightly into the knees as we take a nice forward fold, dropping the head. And then straightening the legs, glancing forward, coming onto the tips of our fingers. Trying to maintain a flat back here. And then bending into the knees, forward fold. Bending slightly deeper into the knees and then rolling up, stacking one vertebrae on top of the next. Hands rise high above. Taking a back bend here if your practice calls for that, by sending your hips forward, your chest up towards the ceiling. Exhale to mountain pose, palms face forward, shoulders drawn down and back. Grounding through all four corners of the feet. The navel is pulling inwards towards the spine. Crown is lifting up towards the sky. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, swan dive forward, leading with the chest. Forward fold. Inhale, looking up halfway, coming to the tips of our fingers. Exhale, folding forward and planting the hands beneath our shoulders, stepping back into high plank, lowering to chaturanga, and then coming to up dog or cobra if your practice calls for that, listening to where your body's at this morning. From up dog, we'll curl the toes under and then send our hips back for down dog. Pausing here for a moment. Seeing if you could draw the heels closer towards the ground. On an inhale, the right leg rises high, flexing through the toes, maybe bringing the gaze up towards that floating foot. Exhale, knee to nose, and then step that right foot all the way forward, dropping the back knee, and then coming to the tops, tippy tops of our fingers, lifting the chest, maintaining that length in the spine, lifting our gaze, seeing if we can bend slightly deeper into that front knee, and then inhale, hands rise. Exhale, floating the arms down, coming to clasped hands behind our back. Now just playing with our flexibility here. We'll see if we can bend deeper into that front knee as we open through the top of the left leg, bringing our chest wide open, sending our hips slightly forward, holding here. Bringing that Ujjayi breath into our practice, grounding through the breath. Exhale, hands rise high, glancing up towards our hands. Exhale, planting the hands beneath us, stepping that right foot back to down dog, and then sweeping that left leg high, glancing up towards the floating foot. Creating a nice, beautiful line from the front of the body all the way up towards that extended leg. Trying to maintain level in the hips. And then exhale, knee to nose. Stepping that foot all the way forward. Dropping the right knee. Coming to the tips of our fingers. Our chest comes forward, glancing up. When we feel nice and stable in our foot and our back knee, we can inhale our arms high to the sky. Exhale, our hands come behind our lower back once again, clasping those hands together, bringing an openness to the front of the body as we stretch through the right leg, bending into the left knee. See if we take a little back bend here, how that feels on the front of the body. Don't forget to breathe. Coming back to center, floating our arms high. Exhale, hands come down beneath us. Stepping back to down dog. Glancing up towards our hands, hopping or stepping our feet to the front of the mat. Hands come to shin, glancing halfway up. Exhale, forward fold, maybe grabbing the backs of our ankles. Instilling a deeper fold so the crown of our head comes closer towards the ground. Inhale, glancing halfway up. Arms come wide to the side. Engaging the navel here as we take an inhale and lift all the way up to standing. Palms touch at the top. Exhale to Tadasana. Palms facing forward. Acknowledging that beautiful posture, that expansion in the front of the body, the groundedness of your feet and your legs rooting you towards the stable earth, growing tall through the spine. Breathing deeply. Inhale, hands rise. Exhale, forward fold. Glancing halfway up. Folding forward, planting the hands beneath you. Seeing if you can jump into chaturanga with your elbows bent as you land. Floating just above the ground before lowering all the way down to cobra or coming into an up dog. Keeping that chest confident, open, maybe lifting the gaze upwards. On an exhale, hips come back to down dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Knee to nose, step that foot forward. Coming into warrior two. So the back heel comes down. Foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. Bending into the front knee. On an inhale, cartwheel the arms open. Glancing out over the front hand. Seeing if you can bend slightly deeper into that front knee. Hips are leveled, you're not falling forward or over to the side, but centered. Finding a moment of stillness in this warrior. Relaxing the shoulders. Floating that back arm just a little higher. Exhale, lowering the hands to the ground, coming to the ball of the back foot. Coming into a runner's lunge. Coming to the tops of the fingers, lifting the chest, bending into the right knee. Inhale, arms rise. For me, I like to keep a slight bend in the back leg because that helps me from leaning too far forward, and instead keeping my chest open. My hips are leveled. So adjust this posture to where your body needs to. On an exhale, twisting open to the right side. Maintaining a level in the hips as you glance to the back arm. Inhale back to center. Exhale, bring our hands beneath us. Stepping to high plank, chaturanga, to cobra or up dog. Back to down dog, meeting here for a few breaths. Acknowledging where in the body you can bring more focus to. Where do you feel untethered? Invite breath into that space and remind yourself that being grounded is an attitude, it's an act. Allow yourself to come to that familiar place of being grounded. You've been there before, just come back to it. Know that you will be okay. Acknowledge where your strengths are. Celebrate those strengths. On an inhale, the left leg rises. Knee to nose. Step that foot forward. Coming into warrior two by bringing the right foot parallel to the back edge of the mat, bending into the front knee, And then cartwheeling the arms open as you rise to standing. Making sure your hips and shoulders are stacked evenly, extending through the arms, glancing out over the front middle finger, bending a little bit deeper into the front knee. And then reaching with that front arm, both hands come down, coming to the ball of the back foot, bending into the front knee, coming to the tips of the fingers as the chest lifts. Inhale, arms rise. Setting yourself up so you're nice and supported in both the feet. Hips are level. Drawing the left hip back and the right hip forward. Arms are high, extending through the fingers. Exhale, opening to the left side. Really drawing those hips together, hugging into the midline, and glancing out to the back hand or towards it. Inhale, back to standing. Back to center, excuse me.
On an inhale, cartwheel the arms open, coming into warrior two, heel to arch alignment. And then straightening through the front leg, walking the back foot in slightly, heel to toe. And we're gonna set ourselves up for Trikonasana, reaching with that front arm, bringing our hips back, hinging at the waist. Exhale, that arm comes down to the ankle, the shin, maybe the mat. Palms open wide, top arm floats high, extending all the way through both arms. Grounding through the feet, and breathing here. Inhale, back to warrior two. We're gonna take a humble warrior by clasping our hands behind our lower back. Stepping the back toes in slightly so your hips are facing more forward, bending into the front knee, and then slowly surrendering the chest forward. That shoulder comes slightly tucked in beside the right knee, and then bowing the head, using the arms above you to deepen the stretch, allowing yourself to surrender here. Inhale, coming back to standing, straightening through that front leg, reaching forward again, and then bringing the hands to frame that front foot, stepping back to chaturanga, to up dog. Inhale, the hips come high. Taking a moment here in down dog, breathing into where you're making space in the body, acknowledging what needs to be breathed into just a little more. Inhale, the left leg rises, extending through that floating leg, knee to nose, step that foot through. Coming into warrior one. Inhale, hands rise. Hips are moving towards the front of the room, or towards the front of the mat. Shoulders squared, shoulders above hips. And then extending the arms wide, coming into warrior two, heel to arch alignment. Floating that back arm just a little higher so it doesn't dip down. Sinking into that front knee a little more. And then straightening through the front leg. Reaching with the left arm this time. Reach, 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 reach until you can't reach any further. Lowering that hand to the ankle, the shin, maybe the mat, twisting open. Right arm floats high. Acknowledging how powerful your wingspan feels in this posture. Keeping that straight line from hand to hand. Inhale back to warrior two. Adjust to warrior one, bringing the toes, the back toes slightly forward, bending into the front knee. Hands come clasped behind your lower back. Hips moving towards the front of the mat. On your next exhale, bending into the front knee, lengthening through the back leg, bringing the chest forward. Shoulder comes inside the left knee as you bow the head forward. Allowing the arms to float high, deepening the stretch. Finding a beautiful surrender in this very engaged posture. On an inhale, lift the gaze. Coming back to warrior one. Bending through the front knee. And then straightening the leg. Arms come wide. Reaching forward. Exhale. Bringing your hands down to the mat. Stepping the left foot back. Chaturanga to up dog. Exhale to down dog. Lowering the knees here for a wide knee child's pose. And then extending the hands forward, dropping the forehead to the mat. Pausing here in this restorative child's pose. This posture that for so many of us feels like coming home. Allow yourself to bow down to those things you cannot change in the world right now. Instead, tapping into the things that you can control. Acknowledging where maybe you need to listen more. Listening in to the self for the guidance, for the leadership that you are seeking now. On how to move forward through crisis, how to move forward through changes. Allow yourself to be still. Following the sound of the breath. On an inhale, lifting the gaze, looking up towards your hands. Hips come up, curling the toes under, moving into down dog, glancing inward towards the navel. See if you can ground those heels slightly closer to the mat, extending through the legs, dropping the shoulders off the neck. Inhale, looking up towards your hands. Step the feet forward, glancing halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands come wide, straighten the legs, flatten the back. Engage the core as you hinge all the way up towards standing, taking a back bend at the top. Exhale, arms down to the side, coming into Tadasana. Mountain pose, finding your stability, recognizing your strength. And lifting the right knee up towards your chest, rolling the ankle a few times. And then on an exhale, we're going to take a huge step to the back of the mat, opening our bodies to be facing parallel with our mat, toes pointed forward. Maybe come into a slight pigeon toed to engage the backs, or the outsides of your legs, excuse me. Hands come to hips. We're gonna hinge for a forward fold here, leading with our chest, pulling our shoulders back. The last thing to drop is our head. Hands come down, and then walking our hands towards the back side of the mat. Using the gentle pull of the palms on the mat to see if we can reach the crown of our head slightly deeper towards the ground. And then inhale back to center, planting your left hand right below your face, and then twisting open to the right side of the room. As a floating arm is extending, reaching through those fingers. If a bind calls to you, you can bring that arm over to the left hip. Breathing into a nice shoulder stretch here. Inhale, floating arm comes high. Exhale, back to center. Switching arms, right hand plants beneath you. Left arm soars high, trying to stay level through the hips. If you took a bind on the opposite side, see if you can take a bind here. Might feel different on each side of the body. Try to recognize the difference without judging it. Maybe glancing up over that top shoulder. Floating arm comes high. Reaching down towards the ground. Taking a nice forward fold here, bowing the head forward. This time reaching our hands out in front of us as if we're in downward dog on the upper body with our legs extended wide. Rolling the shoulders off the neck. See if we can bring the chest towards the back of the room slightly. Enjoying this nice stretch on the front body. Inhale, looking up, walking our hands beneath us. Hands come to hips, coming all the way up. Stepping the feet together to come to the center of our mat. Exhale, forward fold. Seeing if we can draw our head closer to the ground as we hinge from the hips. Maybe grabbing the backs of our ankles. And then lifting halfway up, stepping to the opposite side of the mat. So we're at the end of the mat. Glancing halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Planting our hands beneath us, stepping to high plank. Chaturanga to up dog. Exhale to down dog. Inhale, the right leg floats high. Exhale, right ankle comes to left wrist, setting ourselves up for pigeon. Walking the back leg towards the back of the mat. The shin can be parallel against the front of the mat if you have that flexibility. For many of us, there will be a bend in that front leg. Perfectly fine. The goal here is to move into the hip flexor and flexing through the toes on both feet. So our knee and our feet are going in the same direction, flexing through the toes to protect that knee. Lifting the chest, finding length in the spine. We'll start to forward fold, but take your time here. Don't rush this process. Starting to walk your hands forward. Maybe come to your forearms first. Glancing back towards that leg to make sure your foot is set behind your hip. Walking that foot inwards if you need to. Exhale, seeing if you can melt the chest forward as your forehead connects to the mat. Your head can rest on your arms or a towel. Setting yourself up here for my favorite term, sleeping swan. Allowing yourself to reconnect to that ujjayi breath, that restorative and mindful breath that can be heard in the body, can feel like an ocean wave washing through you, allowing the breath to cleanse you in this restorative posture that is also very engaging. On an inhale, lift the gaze. Hands come beneath your shoulders. If you want to take a nice little thigh stretch here, open the body to the left side. See if you can reach for that foot as it floats up. Gently bringing that foot in closer towards the body. It's okay if you're lifted here. If your hips are not on the ground, that's fine. I've been doing this for years and still can't get my hips to be grounded in this posture, but we start where we are each time. Allowing yourself to get what you need out of this posture, not focusing on the image of the posture as much as the alignment, as much as the energy that you're putting in and the energy that you're getting out. Slowly release the foot back down to the mat. Planting your hands beneath you. Coming into down dog to stretch out that left leg. Left leg extends high to the sky. Knee to nose. Left ankle to right wrist. Flexing through the toes. Protecting that knee up front. Walking the back leg further back until you feel that stretch in the hip flexors. Lifting the chest high. Growing tall through the spine before we start to melt forward. See if we can make micro movements in our hips by drawing our left hip back and our right hip forward. When we're ready, start to walk our hands out, maybe coming to our forearms, and then all the way down until our forehead connects to the mat. Acknowledging where in the body we could ask for more release. Using our breath to take us to that place in the body. On an inhale, slowly lift the head. Walk the hands back in towards the body. If you want to take a stretch on the right side of the body, twisting open to the right, and then floating that back foot up towards you. Gently pulling that foot in towards the body as you feel a beautiful stretch in the top right thigh. Staying open through the chest, relaxing the shoulders. Breathing into this posture. crossing that leg down to the mat, planting your hands beneath your shoulders. Left leg floats high, extending that leg, bending into the knee. Glancing up and seeing if you can spot that foot floating high above you. Breathing into the top of the thigh. Exhale, bring down, connecting our palms to the mat, our heels rooting down, recognizing how far our down dog has come just from the beginning of class, as we've found expanse in the shoulders and the hips, and hopefully a nice surrender, a surrender in our state of mind, our surrender to those things we cannot change, an acknowledgement of the responsibility that we do carry, the things we can control. On an exhale, bringing the knees down to the ground, coming into a closed knee, child's pose, forehead connects to the mat, arms sweep down our sides. Coming into boat pose, shins are parallel to the mat, to the ground, sucking the belly in, chest comes high, shoulders drawn back, arms extended in front of us, palms high, raised towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale back to center. Exhale, lower halfway, pause. Inhale back to center. And then we'll lower all the way down, taking our time here, using the core, drawing the navel in and up. And then releasing everything down to the floor. Bringing our knees into our chest, giving ourselves a little squeeze. Dropping our knees, hips distance apart, knees together. Windshield wiper the knees open, bringing some release to the lower back. Squeezing in the knees, knees to chest for a moment. I want you to squeeze everything in so you can feel the energy coursing through the body. Perhaps your hands come to the bottoms of your feet as you bring connection from forehead to knees, hands to feet. Feeling how powerful this body, this form you've been given is, how small you can get, how expansive you can get. On a deep, deep inhale, drawing up through the belly, I want you to pause at the very top of the breath for 3, 2, 1. Release. Let everything go. Let your legs splay down to the floor. Let your arms come wide, rocking your head from side to side. This is your invitation to let go, to find release. Taking a big inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth, letting all that energy be released. You don't have to produce right now. You don't have to react. This is your time to let go, to be still, to restore. Shavasana.